guys, so today I'm going to be doing a sort of late August wrap up and September TBR video, and I know it's kind of late. I was super busy last weekend and I tried to film it, but I didn't like how it came out and I wasn't really feeling it, so I just kind of scrapped it and was like, let's try it again this weekend. Also, don't mind the weird lighting. The sun is going in and out of the clouds, and so it's kind of hard to get something that looks semi-normal or semi-decent, and yeah, it's just something we're gonna have to deal with in this video. Okay, starting off with my August wrap-up. This month was, or I guess last month, was kind of a rough patch in my reading for this year. I was going through a really bad reading slump for some reason. I think it's because school was starting, so I'm going to kind of blame school, even though school didn't really start until like the second or third, I don't remember, was it the third week? I can't remember. I think it was the third week of August is when school started for me, so I mean, I was just in a weird slump. So anyway, so the first book that I read in August was The Crown's Fate by Evelyn Skye, and this one was so amazing. I absolutely loved it, and yeah, this is just one of my favorite duologies now. Like, I loved it so much. I can't wait for more of Evelyn Skye, and yes, this book was just amazing. I totally recommend it, and if you want to know more about how I feel about these books, you can go look at my Goodreads down below. I have a review of both this book and the first book, The Crown's Game, and you can check those out. Okay, so the second book that I read in August was New World Rising by Jennifer Wilson, and I loved this book so much, and it was just such a good dystopian. Like, I hadn't read a really good dystopian in a long time, and it was so nice to get back into dystopians, especially with such a good one, and I loved it so much. I think if you love things like Divergent, you're totally going to love this book. I certainly enjoyed it, and so I hope that if you guys read it as well, that you enjoy it. The third book on my August wrap-up is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli, and I loved this book so much. This was just such a sweet contemporary, and I could so relate to it, and I just like laughed, I cried, it was amazing. I absolutely love this book, and if you read any contemporary this year, read this one. It is so good. And I read this book so fast. Like, I read it kind of within a day. Like, it was half of one day, and then I finished it the half of the next day. So I basically read it in a day, but it was amazing, and I absolutely loved it. And if you want to know more about my thoughts, of course, I have a review on it on both my blog, Goodreads. I always make reviews of the books I read, so go check it out. It's down below. And the last book that I read in August was The Melody of You and Me by Maria Hollis. And I don't own a copy of it right now, like in my hand, physical copy, but I did read it on my Kindle and I absolutely loved it. It's a very short, sweet, cute novella, and it is women loving women, and it was amazing. I just absolutely loved it, and I totally recommend it. Alright, so now that we're done with my August wrap-up, we're going to get into the books that I plan to read in September, or that I kind of already have read in September. The first book that I read in September was Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi, and as you can see, I totally tabbed up this entire book. I love this book so much. I've already read it before, and so this was a reread for me, and I absolutely love it. It is dystopian, and it came out a few years ago, and I totally recommend it. It is one of my all-time favorite dystopian books, like, ever. So if you haven't somehow read this book, go ahead and read it. The writing is gorgeous. I love Juliet. She's the main character. I absolutely love her. And of course, I love Adam and Warner. I literally just had to redo that because I literally said Warner's first name for some reason. I don't know why. Why did I say that? I have no idea. But Warner. I absolutely love Warner. He is like my all-time favorite. So if you haven't read it, go ahead and read it. I totally recommend it. And yeah, let's move on to the next book. The book that I'm currently reading is also on my Kindle, and that is The Noble of Spereth by Sierra Mailey, and I absolutely love this book so far. I am a little more than 50% of the way through it, and it is so good. So basically, it's kind of like a Throne of Glass, or kind of like an ACOTAR almost, but it's women loving women, and I love it. It is so good. It was like $2.99 for my Kindle, so I was like, you know what, that's a pretty good price. And so far, I am really enjoying it. I can't say too much about it because, of course, I haven't finished it yet, so you know, but once I finish it, you guys will be hearing about it and I will do a review, and I'm so excited. The other book that I'm currently reading right now is Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake, and I am super loving this book right now. It is very strangely written though. Like, I will say that I've never read something that was written like this. Like, just the tone and just like the way it was written is so unique, and I am absolutely loving it right now. Like, it is so good, and I can't wait to read more of it. So yeah, like I really can't say too much about this. I know it's just about like these three triplets, and they're all vying for the crown, and one of them will be queen and the rest of them will die. So there you go. There's my little synopsis for you guys. So the next two books that I'm planning on reading for the month of September are A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. And I am super excited to get into this book. I've heard so many people raving about it, and I am so ready to know what this is all about, like what all the commotion is about for this book. I don't know too much about this. I think it's fantasy. That's all I really know. I know there are different shades of London. And yeah, I don't really know too much about this book, but it's been sitting on my shelf and I've been wanting to read it for so long. So I'm totally excited to get into it. And then the very last book that I'm going to read for September, I mean, I don't know if it's the last, but it's the last one I'm planning on reading. It just came out recently, and that is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I got this book the day it came out. It was at my local bookstore and I was so excited. I found it and I am absolutely so excited to get into it. And yeah, so I mean, all I really know about this book is that the main characters are going to die at the end. That's like literally all I know about it. I think it's kind of sort of a alternate fantasy. I don't really know how to like say it because it's not really a contemporary. Like, there are definitely aspects of this contemporary that are like not real. So I don't really know how to classify this specific book. But it's super interesting, and I am really excited to read it, and if you haven't gotten your hands on it, then you totally need to, because I'm gonna read it, and then we can all talk about it, and I'm so excited. So yeah, that is the last book that I'm planning on reading in September. Alright, so I finally did my August wrap up and my September TBR, and if you enjoyed this video, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I try to make new videos every once in a while, and I will see you guys in my next video, which will possibly be tomorrow or the next day. I feel kind of bad that I missed last week's video, so I'm going to try and do 2 videos this week. We will see. And with all that being said, I will see you guys in my next video.